It's Dave from cheapwinefinder.com. Back to doing what we do in 2021. We were kind of upscale for the last month or so. You know, trying to find value without being too cheap, and I think we did okay. But now we're down to, or not down to, now we're showing up with a $5.99 Trader Joe's Import Red. The Aiolas, A-I-O-L-A-S, Red Blend from the Dão region of Portugal, 2019. $5.99. This is the kind of wine that Portuguese people who drink wine every day drink. Now, it's probably made for import or export, to ship for ALDI. ALDI Nord is Trader Joe's around the world. It probably wasn't made to be consumed in Portugal, but it's probably not that much different from what they drink. And I actually, one thing I was kind of shocked by, they always use their own grapes there. And I'll explain that in a minute, but it's Touriga this, Tinta that, all indigenous grapes. And they don't do Chardonnay or Cabernet Sauvignon in any great detail. They do Portuguese wines. And this one, I was expecting it to be a little bit out of left field, kind of unique, and it's a really solid red blend, really tasty, real relatable. But I wasn't expecting that, because some of these grapes are a little bit something you're not used to. I mean, they're perfectly good. They make great wines, but you kind of get used to the greatest hits. Your Merlots and your Cabernet Francs and Cabernet Sauvignons and Sauvignon Blancs and Pinot Noirs, and this ain't that, though it tasted great and didn't taste unusual or unique or different. It tasted really good. And here's one thing about Portugal. Up until 2008, when the worldwide economic crisis hit, Portuguese wine industry was basically for internal use only. People in Portugal didn't drink wine from anywhere else. They drank their own wine. They made their own wine, so it was kind of unique. They were making wine for their own audience. It kind of grew up in that. It wasn't really based on any other wine country. So when the whole world went kind of downhill in 2008 economically, the Portuguese government knew that they were sitting on a bit of a gold mine, so they helped the Portuguese wine industry ramp up so they could export wine and start bringing money into the country, which they needed. You know, Portugal's not a huge country, so any help was good. And so since 2008, Portuguese wine has kind of come into the wine people's consciousness. It's been around, but the one problem is it is very unique wines. It's made for Portuguese people. I'm going to take a sip. We'll talk about it a little bit. It's really smooth and fruit forward up front. A little bit of like a chocolate edge. It's got a little bit of a sharp hit of spice on the edge. It has some tannins. You know, a lot of Western New World wines, they make it with techniques to kind of soften the tannins. That's the new style. People don't like too much bulk in the tannins. And this doesn't have a lot of tannins, but just a little bit. And you would expect that. That's something that makes it Portuguese wine. So this is, from a place you don't get every day. And at $5.99, if you're looking to find out a bit about Portuguese wine, and like I said, this is not maybe the most typical Portuguese wine, but it is a Portuguese wine. I have no clue what the grapes are. Sometimes I can maybe guess if it's Cabernet Sauvignon or Syrah or something, but I don't know. Tinta this and Touriga that, I think. And it tastes great. It's a really solid, for $5.99, this thing drinks really well. I mean, you would never, ever guess the price. Just you wouldn't. It tastes great. That was an unscheduled sip. It's fruit forward. It's got, not super complicated, but it's got enough flavors underneath everything to keep things interesting. So there you go, Portuguese wine for less than $6. Keep it cheap. We'll be coming back with more. We got a whole year ahead of us. We're going to have some fun, and hopefully things are getting better and better and better and better. So adios. Keep it cheap. Check out cheapwinefighter.com, and I'll talk to everybody later.